What's going on, all you awesome people? I'm Scott, that's Rob, and pretty much everyone else in the New York City area is more or less watching Aaron Rodgers to see if he manages to go past 4 plays this season without getting another injury that floored him for the entire year, like he did last year. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Just Jets, Aaron Rodgers. You'll get the laugh. It'll be hilarious and the most Jets thing basically any football fan's ever seen. Anywho's, we're going to be talking obviously tonight about the passing of the late, great, beyond great, James Earl Jones, best known for Darth Vader, in this case, the voice of Darth Vader. We'll be talking about some stuff that he had through the years, stuff decades before Star Wars, decades after Star Wars. We're going to be talking a little bit about his legacy in this case here, maybe some unknown little bit of facts here and there about James Earl Jones you might not actually be aware of, his EGOT and everything else. But first of all, how you doing, Mr. Bobblehead?
I'm doing great, and I am going to show this off real quick. And then So yeah.
Nice.
So that's a little pop that came out a while back, and I figured it was appropriate to show it off with the passing of James Earl Jones. I was good until I found out about his passing today, because he is one celebrity I always wanted to meet and never had the chance to meet. And heard he was always 100% for his fans when it came to doing autographs. Like, people would go to his Broadway shows, would stack like 20 autographs or whatever. He signed every auto, and his quote, I'm not going to quote it because I don't know the exact, but basically it said he didn't care about the money. It was he said it was his responsibility to sign everything, because basically without the fans, he would not be where he is today.
Valid.
I mean, before passing, but
Well, that's the funny thing about it, because everybody knows him obviously from, we'll call it just post Star Wars, obviously Darth Vader, and then of course movies like Coming to America, movies
Lion
like
King.
Field of Dreams, Lion King, a little bit later that, So, but everybody doesn't realize that he had a long career before that. I mean, dating back to, in this case, basically this picture right here is from 1960.
Is this when he was a professional boxer?
Yes, this was during his fight era here.
Yes.
This is actually very early on. Like I said, this is you can see a very young James Earl Jones there. But again, that was 17 years before Star Wars. Pushing ahead a little bit, this is him in 1964, theatrically playing Othello. Digging the beard, loving the beard there. But yeah, 1964. 1969 with his Tony Award. Nobody realized the man has a Tony Award. He also doesn't have the hair either. But
wow.
By this point here, like I said, he already had this stuff by the time he was there. And then arguably one of the biggest, most important, most amazing roles ever for the man. Sesame Street.
Oh.
Yeah, he was on Sesame Street, 1970. So
that's funny.
I would probably say like everybody else's. I hadn't thought about that, but I'm sure basically if it's anything like mine or anybody else's, it's probably the same.
That's funny because years after.
I kind of wish I hadn't posted that one,
but years after, Star Wars made an appearance on Sesame Street as well, like the actual character. So I wonder if he had any ties of connections with that.
Possibly. I do know that there was a lot of stuff, R2-D2 and C-3PO made appearances on there.
Yes.
But it's interesting because the original, I'll get to Star Wars in a minute. But yeah, this is 1970, The Great White Hope, which I think he was nominated for an Oscar for too.
Wow.
Let's see, 1970. Awards and nominations. Yes, he was nominated for Best Acting Award on that, by 1970. And again, nobody even remembers that he ever did it. So, let's see, pushing ahead a little bit, of course, obviously a little bit after the fact. One of my personal favorites of all time, Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
What's funny about Field of Dreams in this case here is the original book of Field of Dreams centered around what they call the kidnapping of J.D. Salinger, the writer who wrote Catcher in the Rye. But because they figured which by the way, the writer of that book, the book Field of Dreams, a guy named J.P. Kinsella. Kinsella was Kevin Costner's character's last name, by the way. Fun fact. But because they realized that most people would have no idea who J.D. Salinger was, they created a brand new character and made it James Earl Jones in this case here. Obviously, we talk about things like Coming to America, The Lion King, like you mentioned. Of course, we have the iconic, of course, very iconic, Mr. Darth Vader himself, which is funny because of the fact that nobody realized that basically a lot of the people didn't realize that they had dubbed over the voice. So originally in the original Star Wars, during the acting, he was portrayed by a British man because nobody knew what Darth Vader was supposed to sound like. So if you sit there and you go on YouTube, they'll sit there and say, "Well, part of the Rebel Alliance, and you're a traitor, take it away." And they were just like, "Yeah, this isn't going to work." But this right here, from what Rob was just saying, he adored everybody. Listen, there's a certain thing I will say, and we're going to talk about some other people a little bit later. A lot of actors do, especially nowadays, a lot of actors actually really do get along with their co-stars very, very well, because it's the fastest way to burn yourself out in the film industry is to just be, frankly, an asshole. That is, I have watched actors burn out like this because they were difficult to deal with. They were cranky. They were just a challenge top to bottom, and people were just like, "I'm out," and they have no careers. There was a cast member, I'm not going to mention the name, but of a well-established, very popular HBO series that aired during the 2010s, that they hated the guy so much that they not only killed the character off, but they made him lie face down in the mud in the cold and repeatedly shot the scene over and over where he was murdered, face down in the mud, just to really get rid of this character. Look up the story. I'm not going to say who it is, though. But fun fact, this was not the first credited role of Darth Vader for James Earl Jones. Do you know what it was?
You said this ain't the first time he was Darth Vader?
He was Darth Vader here, but he was uncredited here. Do you know what the first credited role for him as Darth Vader was?
It was the third movie, correct?
It was not.
When was it? The Christmas special? No, I'm just kidding. Was it the Christmas special?
That was the first credited role of Darth, for James Earl Jones at Darth Vader.
So I was right.
You were right, but you also were like, no, it's not possible.
Yeah,
no.
I was like for giggles, because everybody trashes this movie.
Oh, I don't know if you have you ever seen Star Wars Holiday Special?
No, I haven't, but I think it's hilarious when everybody's like, yeah, everybody does a Christmas special besides Star Wars. Star Wars never did one.
It is, the problem with it, it's boring. It was so bad in this case. It was, like I said, it was just boring. And that was the problem, because it was originally, I remember doing a 10 fact on it. And one of the things it was supposed to be, it was only supposed to be an hour-long special, but they wanted to pad it out to make it a 2-hour special instead, which is why they added so many things like Jefferson Starship in there, that weird eroticism thing where, Chewbacca's father's like watching Wookiee porn, and all of these bizarre things that were in this thing.
So what made it so bad?
Low budget. All the actors were basically there under contract, so they didn't have a lot of passion for it. It was a musical, which is really weird in its own right, and it was just sluggish. There were some options in there, to bring in people. There was a role, I forget what it was, but there was a role that was written for Robin Williams, and they shot it down because they're like, nobody knows who Robin Williams is. That's the guy from Mork and Mindy. Who's going to care about him? And it was just bad decisions, top to bottom. The storyline was dull. Nobody wanted to be there. I give it credit. I mean, it had Harvey Korman in it. It had Art Carney in it. So it really did.
Only if that Robin Williams guy would have did something with his life.
Did I ever tell you I almost hit him with my car once? No, apparently I didn't. There was a movie a few years ago. I'm going to take this off for a second, because it's, because it doesn't really tie in too much to what I'm talking about here. I'll pull this out of here. There was a movie a bunch of years ago called The Angriest Man in Brooklyn with him and Mila Kunis.
Yeah. he was
There
not
was
himself in that movie.
he was already getting sick at that point. A buddy of mine played his dead son in that too. But in my case, there was a scene there where I had to drive around him and Mila Kunis after they have a car accident. And I had to do about 30 miles an hour around a curve and then back up on the curve this way while they're right over here. So I'm sitting there backing up while I got Mila Kunis and Robin Williams right here. And then I got to go around them each time and then back each time for hours on end. And I missed these two by like less than a foot every single time. And it was one of the most terrifying things I have ever had to do in this industry. I've done some weird things in my life.
So you almost unalived Robin Williams.
What's that?
I said you almost unalived Robin Williams.
Yeah, that's kind of a bad way to kill your resume, not gonna lie. But yeah, it was a near miss in this case. But like I said, as far as like Star Wars Holiday Special goes, yeah, Robin Williams was supposed to be in it, and they're like, yeah, we have no idea who that guy is, so we don't really care.
Just like the guy from The Outsiders took pictures of everybody and only took one picture of Tom Cruise because he said that he didn't think Tom Cruise would be a successful actor.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to that guy. So
yeah, I wonder what happened to him. But anyways, back to James Earl Jones. Yes. The man, the myth, the legend, the reason why Star Wars is Star Wars.
In a lot of ways, yes. Now, my question to you, sir,
yes,
is outside of the stuff like the Star Wars or Lion King or any of these things, what do you remember?
Definitely grew up with Star Wars. Definitely grew up with Lion King. I've seen Lion King probably a million times, being that Disney kid. So, I mean, and then I've obviously seen Coming to America. So, I mean, that's the stuff I grew up with James Earl Jones. I was always a Darth Vader fan. Actually, this is not signed by him, but what is cool, speaking of Darth Vader, is I have this book, and it's signed by the sculptor of
nice. Okay.
That originally did the sculptor, so it's relevant to Vader. But met him at a convention at my very first convention.
Mm-hmm.
So always a huge Star Wars fan. I thought it was cool that Earl Jones got to come back in like the Clone Wars series and did Darth Vader.
Yes. That was a big deal too.
And then another thing, and I'd like your take, or it's interesting, where do you think Disney goes now? Because James Earl Jones gave the rights to Disney where they can use his voice forever.
I feel for a lot of people they would consider it disingenuous to do so now. I have personally my opinion. This is my thing. I am not a fan of these sort of things anyway. Like Michael Jackson live in concert or any of these.
Right.
If you have that, you can retire now.
Yeah, if only if I had a DeLorean could go back in time.
Yeah, right. But I think, like I said, as far as that goes, I mean, I'm torn a little bit because on one hand you have that. On the other hand, Freddie Mercury was like, I don't care what you do with my music as long as you make it awesome. But as far as the Darth Vader voice, I think if you have someone who can parody the voice proper, I think it's okay. If you use like AI James Earl Jones, I got a problem with it. But if you hand the voice off to someone else, I'm okay with that, I think.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I know in the contract, James Earl Jones said, "Here, give me some money. You can have my voice now." And they're supposed to be generating it with AI. Is basically what the contract was.
And Queen, that's a tough sell.
Wait, about that the Beatles are better than Star Wars?
No, than Queen, I think he's talking about.
Oh, then Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I think probably, yeah.
But yeah, so I was just always the Star Wars guy. I mean, I've gotten to meet some of the cast members, so I would have loved to meet him at a con. He never did cons that I went to. I know he did back in the day before I even did conventions, but it would have been nice to meet him, but he will be missed. He lived a long year, 93 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, but it's expected because, he's up there.
Listen, 90, like you just said, 93 is a great age. I'm not going to argue that
Yeah.
anymore. But at the same time, it's still one of those things that weirdly blindsides you anyway.
What?
It's weird. It kind of like blindsides you anyway. So when Caden put that in the chat earlier today to say that, James Earl Jones had passed, I think it shocked a lot of people because it's like, it's just not one of those people you just think is ever going to go 93 or not.
I mean, you're right. I mean, there's a couple people, at these, like, when I go to these Comic Cons, like, you got William Shatner, that's 94 or 93, 94. You got William Daniels, that's 95, 96, going to these cons. I mean, you got these people that are going to pass any day, and it's just insane. Like you said, you never think they'll go. Or
Yeah.
Stan Lee, for example. I know it's been years since he's passed away. He passed away back in 2018, so it's been like 6 years already. Yeah, I only know, 20, because I met him in 2016, and he passed, or maybe he passed in 17. No, he passed in 17 because Disney Plus released in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, it's been over 5 years, and time goes by fast, and you don't realize it.
Yeah, I know. You're looking old. You're closing in on 30 over there, kid.
I don't want to hear it, Mr. White hair guy. Yeah.
Why do you think I wear the hat when I can? Yeah, I know. It's like, oh yes, this hair. Oh yes, But I don't know, Rogaine this thing or something sometime. But yeah, I don't know. I like the gray a little bit. Robin likes the beard, so I'm kind of letting it roll in with everything, with the new stuff that's going on with me. But for right now, we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna ZZ Top it, that's for sure. But yeah, you have these people like they're like you just mentioned William Shatner, or staying with it. George Takei, Walter Koenig. These guys that are old school from the show that's 60, that turns 70 years old. No, I'm sorry, 60 years old in 2 years.
Or even out of your like Little House on the Prairie. I mean, they just celebrated 50th anniversary.
Yeah, Michael Landon's gone, Victor French is gone. Sarah Gilbert's still around, but
yeah.
But yeah, a lot of, you look at these things and you're like, there's certain people you just assume they're going to be around forever.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going to hurt me personally in this case is nobody realizes that people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Chuck Norris, Sylvester Stallone, that 70s entourage are all in their 70s and 80s. That 80s and 90s entourage, just are in their 70s and 80s at this point.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, I think 76 years old, I think now at this point.
Sounds about right.
The movie Rocky turns 50 next year. We lost Carl Weathers. He was a sweetheart. He wasn't a big fan of Arrested Development season 4 and 5. I heard him complain about that. I was there when he was complaining about that.
Carl Weathers passing. I mean, it's like
Young's gone. Talia Shire's still kicking though.
Because out of the Star Wars cast, I mean, a lot of your cast has passed away. I mean, yes, you still have CP3 or C3PO. You still have that's Anthony Daniels. You still have
he's very man-pretty. Steven, no, that beard.
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford. And
Mark Hamill's still kicking.
Because I just met him.
Yeah, Mark Hamill's still kicking. Harrison Ford's in his 80s at this point.
I met my dad.
Well, actually, did you see the tweet from Mark Hamill? It said "Rest in peace, Dad" today.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I did not see that.
So of course Twitter lit up with that. It's like, I know.
Everybody likes Mark Hamill again. Yay!
Well, yeah. As long as he stops making political comments on Twitter, stop making political comments, stop making commentary. Looking at you, Rachel Zegler, when you're promoting Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, don't be dumb and put in there things like Free Palestine, regardless of your political beliefs, especially when your co-star is Israeli. I'm not getting in the middle of that one, but when your co-star is the opposite side of your tweet, maybe don't put the tweet out. Just gonna say. That movie's already going to be a hilarious bomb anyway.
Yeah, I want it to do good.
It's not going to do good. I mean, listen.
I can want all I want.
I watched Rachel Zegler, I guess it was about a year ago, on that Y2K movie, because that filmed in right by me, actually. I think in Bloomfield, 2 nights on an overnight. I'm still curious to see it when it comes out because I have a scene in there opposite Fred Durst, and I'm really curious to see if it shows up or not.
Wait, you're in the Snow White movie?
Mm-mm. She had a movie called Y2K.
Oh, sorry.
It's about killer robots that took over on when in the Y2K virus.
Okay.
And it was it was a reunion. I had a scene opposite Fred Durst, and I'm really curious to see if it shows up. I've been waiting for like a year and a half at this point. I think, since I did that scene to find out if actually what's going to be in there. But yeah, me and my buddy Rich in there. It was a fun thing, and like I said, it was local, and they paid us really well. It was a good environment. I did some soccer press conferences. I did some soccer work in between takes. It was great. But I'm really, like I said, the movie's not supposed to be released till the end of the year. And if she keeps, torpedoing her career the way she is, it might never come out.
But yeah, no, it's the whole AI thing's what's got me tripped up. But I mean, Disney's gonna do something. They spent the money. They gave Earl Jones money. They said, we'll buy your voice. And he said, okay, because he wants his voice to survive. I think they got enough cut of his voice that they should be able to, not saying I agree with AI, but I think they should be able to copy it pretty well. And because they have the blessings of Earl, because he did say, here, you want to give me money before?
Go ahead and do it, Chills.
Well,
here's the funny thing about that. I mean, the other problem is the fact that Star Wars is a weak brand now. They come out with a new project and nobody really cares anymore. I posted this on one of the Facebook groups called Millennium Vulcan. And one of the things we've talked about is that every time that crawl came up and it said a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, you got nervous. Return of the Jedi, the three prequels, even like Force Awakens, there was this anxiety, this trepidation, this excitement when that showed up. And it was just like, oh my God, now nobody really cares about Star Wars anymore. So you may have the legal rights to James Earl Jones's voice, but matching it to a product that nobody cares about, I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference.
Well, I was going to say, I know the games, the games are still doing good. And
yes,
that's where they'll bring James Earl Jones back to do any Star Wars games that they bring Darth Vader in.
You might have actually, yeah, because forget Outlaws in this case, but yeah, the games have done well. If they do stuff in what they call expanded universe, yeah,
or even the cartoons, they're good at their cartoons. They like when they do when they've done the Clone Wars series, or even when they brought back the Star Wars Rebels show that came out.
And then James Earl Jones voiced Darth Vader in that battle against Ahsoka. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, if you're doing stuff like that sells, I think they'll be able to do it. But you're right. This live action stuff that they keep doing, they bring it out and it's getting canceled. Now I'm really interested to see what happens with the Mandalorian movie. I know it probably gonna bomb, but if they do it right, like they should, it may give people back hopes, because Jon Favreau is a good director. I mean, he's who did the first two seasons. I mean, he did them all. Those first two seasons were solid. I don't know what happened with the third season, but yeah, I'm really hopes that we'll see a better Star Wars. That it still lives on. I hope they don't trash. I hope we keep the memory of James Earl Jones.
Well, I think what they'll do is basically the fact that Mandalorian is going to be a movie, I think will be better. It's a smaller, tighter story. What they keep doing is they keep dragging out these things from watch minutes, and it loses some of the magic. The Obi-Wan series was supposed to not be 6 episodes. It was supposed to be a 2-hour movie and then done. And I think it would have flowed better. Somebody actually went out and took the Obi-Wan series, turned it into a 2-hour movie, and it flowed.
I really loved the show. I loved everything that we got from that show. I know there was some hate on that show. There has been some. There was a lot of positivity on it as well.
It just dragged.
It
just dragged.
It dragged, but the thing I liked about it is each episode at the very end left you on a cliffhanger that made you want to go watch it next week. For me, every single episode we got, I was like, oh my gosh. It's like, oh, well, crap. Now I have to wait until next week, you know?
But at the same time, also, just that, everybody kept getting stabbed and lived. The Dark Inquisitor got stabbed and lived. Reva got stabbed and lived. Obi-Wan just walked away from Anakin / Darth Vader instead of killing him off. Which obviously, I understand that you have to it has to fit to the continuity of the storyline. But he just walked away, which means the next 10 before he meets him again, the next 10 years of deaths are on Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. But I will say the one thing I did like about that is that we finally got some kind of origin with the kids.
A little bit. I didn't mind that. I think
that. And there, it was crazy as people were like, they were starting to attack the actress that was the little girl that played Leia, and somebody made a video and said, "Hey, don't be blaming the kids for their acting. Let's not have another Anakin Skywalker situation."
Jake Lloyd, yeah. Nobody talks about Jake Lloyd. That kid got messed up by Star Wars fandom. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
He retired at the age of 7.
Kid's schizophrenic now, from what I understand. I get it, because like I said, even in my case, America's Got Talent 10 years ago put me into depression for 2 years. I was in my 30s, and that was a shell of what this kid went through. I only had 11 million people going after me. This kid this was the most anticipated movie of all time, and this kid was 9 or whatever. He had one movie under his belt, the Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then he gets cast as Anakin, and that was it.
Yeah, no, and it's sad because that kid could have had a really successful career and still be an actor. But yes, you're right. He's in a institution to get better right now.
The problem is, I think, and listen, I love what Hollywood can do. I love the storyline. I love the storytelling. I love all of that. But I think too many people put too much emotional support, and in this case psychological therapy almost, into basically the content that they watch as an escapism from their own crap. So the more angry they are internally, the more dependent they are on entertainment to stave that off. And if it doesn't apply, then people take that pre-existing anger and contempt that they've already got and then plow it directly into the product.
Dead community is a good example too.
What's that?
The Walking Dead community is a good example.
Yeah. Or Game of Thrones. People hated season 8. With a fiery passion, still do. And like I said, I like what the industry does. I like the entertainment. I think it's an extremely, extremely important part of humanity. It absolutely is. But I think for a lot of people, they're dependent on it as their own personal vice.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the problem comes in a lot. And, they turn that hostility and that hate into something, outward towards others. And that's the problem. I know, granted, I'm not going to lie. Disney is shooting themselves in the foot, like with that whole lawsuit going on with, the person that died at the theme park. And Film Theory just did another video on it too. I've been following it, but but this woman died of a peanut allergy at a theme park, and Disney's like, well, you can't legally sue us or take us to court because your husband signed up for a Disney Plus account in 2019.
Yeah, free trial,
but not her. It was him. So the court basically
he bought the tickets, not her.
Yes. So that's how they're getting around it. So he will get his day in court, but in this case, who knows what's going to end up happening. But the arbitration part of it is admittedly a faster way, but it also forces you to sign an NDA saying you cannot legally discuss this after we cut you a check.
Yeah. Here's money. Yes. Can't talk about your wife now.
Yep. So move on. Basically, here's your $85 and here's a free pass to Disney World, to Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom is the cheapest one of the bunch, by the way, in Disney World. But as far as, like I said, James Earl Jones goes, a long career, 60 some odd years. Was active during Korean War, which nobody really realizes as well. Moved into theater shortly after that too. And stellar career and a massive loss on a lot of fronts.
When he was boxing, would that been during the time of Ali Mali, or however you say his name? I'm sorry.
Muhammad Ali?
Yeah.
Let me check on that. I don't know. Muhammad Ali was definitely later.
Okay.
But yeah, Great White Hope was 1970. That would have been there, but his previous, I think, boxing experience would have been far sooner.
Okay.
Back in the 50s, that would have been more like Rocky Marciano, Jack Dempsey.
I was just curious if that ever could have been a potential match.
No, probably not.
No.
Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, he had a stutter since childhood. That's interesting, too. Poetry helped him overcome the challenge of his disability. Yeah, good on him. Yeah. On Golden Pond.
That's crazy. I mean, when he's the actor that voiced, an icon that probably helped advance a lot of people's careers. A lot of people related to Star Wars, and yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, like I said, we lost a legend today. Thankfully, passed the age of 93.
Mm-hmm.
Not the age of like 60, 70, because it's like I've been watching old movies with my mom, and we're watching different movies, and it's like we watched Maid in Manhattan, and long short, it's got the lady that was also in Parent Trap. Can't think of what her name is, but she passed away at like the age of 46, dealt to a traumatic brain injury.
That's right. Yeah, just recently.
Back in 2004.
Yeah, it's recent enough to me.
Okay, yeah. But no, it's insane that you got these different actors that didn't live as long as you think they would have. And like I just found out about Phil Hartman.
Yeah. Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah. I liked him in Jingle All the Way. Speaking of Jingle All the Way, that's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, his cookies.
Put the cookie down.
No. Now, I have to look this up in this case. I'm looking up James Earl Jones' father, Robert Earl Jones, by the way.
Oh.
But he acted all the way up into the 1990s. His father.
So he got his acting career from his dad then?
Yes. His father was one of the first prominent black actors, too. Linked to the Harlem Renaissance.
You said
he had a lot of work back then, too. Now, I need to find out. He was also in Trading Places from 1983. I need to find that. That'll be something I'll look at later. So,
yeah.
All right, I'll dig that one up at some point. But I'll be curious to see that. Yeah, James Earl Jones' father was in Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd.
Are you saying Trading Places was with the dad or Earl?
With the dad.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, where? Because I know that movie pretty much inside and out. And I'm like, where the frig would he have shown up? It said he's an attendant. So I wonder if he was possibly on the train.
I'm throwing an idea at you because this would be technically a good time. You should take some of the old footage of James Earl Jones, like how you made the videos, where you show them in like their old thing.
Oh, put a montage together?
Yeah, like how you would like show like you could do something with James Earl Jones in Sesame Street. People that don't realize that they were in Sesame Street, kind of like how you've done that with other
before they were stars. Yeah, I could probably throw that one together too. Sure. I did. Here's the thing. I did actually sort of stop that after the whole Ralph Macchio situation.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because technically, because the YouTube channel, I was actually on probation for 3 months.
Okay. Never mind.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, no, it was one of those things that caught me out of the blue because of a scene that Ralph Macchio did in the show 8 is Enough from like pre-Karate Kid, and YouTube flagged it and was like, yeah, this is actually like no. Okay. And it like removed it like all from like every aspect from YouTube everywhere.
Yeah, never mind. Okay.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So, but yeah, Mr. James Earl Jones, we thank you, man.
We thank you and rest in pieces.
Yes. Okay, so I am going to throw something else out here right now. Let's see what we can find. We're going to go over here.
Sorry with this because I know nothing. Well, I was hoping Dave would be here.
Yeah, he just sent his review of See No Evil.
Oh, okay.
So I will probably put that up for tomorrow night. I think I'll have a choice. I think I'll put that up for tomorrow and pushes Chris Sarandon thing back a day. I know I just told you I was going to push that, So
We'll just keep pushing Chris.
We'll just keep pushing Chris Sarandon back. It's no big deal. Whatever. You know, who cares about the guy from Princess Bride and Nightmare on Elm Street? Nah, it's okay.
You mean Nightmare Before Christmas?
Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, I said Nightmare on Elm Street. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
So.
And don't forget Fright Night.
And Fright Night. He mentions Fright Night in that interview too. Okay, so today is the greatest day I've ever known. Birthday of someone that turned 58 years old today. He is someone that his first acting role, believe it or not, was in 4 episodes in a 1980s comedy starring everyone's lovable dad and the guy who used to basically sell commercials for Jell-O pudding cups. That man's career kind of went downhill and spent some time in jail. This actor also did a pilot with Jeremy Piven, where he was basically a guy with a criminal record trying to go straight, and had conversations and interactions with alien dogs, called Dog Police, which went nowhere, but it also had, like I said, Jeremy Piven and also Ned Bellamy in it too. That was hilarious. It went nowhere, although the song was really good. He's also filming a movie in New York right now, a sequel that I'm curious about but nervous about at the same time, because I really like the original movie from 1996, which also starred a cast member of something we just talked about prior.
Wait, are we talking about Adam Sandler?
Yes.
Yeah. He's only 58?
Yeah. Today's his birthday, too.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. But at the same time, he's also 58. He's 2 years away from 60.
Well, no, to me, I thought, I guess he did a lot of 90s movies, but just for me, I thought he's older because even Ralph Macchio is 60, you know? Yeah. It's like all the people from Outsiders are above 60 now.
Yeah.
And, right, yeah. I think, Emilio Estevez.
Yeah. Joe Estevez. Martin Sheen's in his probably 80s at this point, too.
Yeah, he just did a con.
Yeah. Well, he did 7 seasons of Grace and Frankie. I love the heck out of that show. That show was amazing to me.
You threw me off with the birthday today, not the one that you normally do.
Well, you know what it was? I didn't really find any movies that really connected, because in this case it's a little tougher because I was trying to find stuff for you that was a little more recent.
Okay.
As opposed to although it's not yet, but Pulp Fiction is 30 years old. So if I try to do something like that with today, it would have been tougher.
You could have done, because how you could wait. What was the movie again?
Well, I mentioned Pulp Fiction is 30 years old, but
yeah, Pulp Fiction. You could have mentioned Phil Lamar.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I'm not going to talk about basically the word in that scene because I'd like to actually not get banned or anything like that. But I will. I'll tell you what. You want a movie from today? I can give you a movie from today. All right. Based on a true story, was very, very popular here a few years ago. Regarding basically a pilot, some water, and a guy with a funny name. It was basically starring a guy that's bosom buddies, League of Their Own. He once kicked Fonzie out a window in Happy Days. The guy was also in Philadelphia. Big Tom Hanks. Yes.
So Tom Hanks is the actor that we're talking about, and he was in a movie 30 or we didn't say what movie, but it's based on a true story.
Yes, this is a little more difficult for what's that?
Wait, are we talking about that movie was the Island movie wasn't based on a true story.
No, and that was 2004.
Okay.
No, if you can, like I said, this is admittedly a little tougher for you because this didn't happen by you. This happened by us.
What do you mean it happened by us?
The incident itself was big news over here because it happened right in the Hudson River. And people outside the New York City area weren't as well affected by it because you weren't here for this. It wasn't all over the news for you guys like it was us.
How long ago did it come out?
2016. 8 years ago.
So it just came out.
Yes. And I'm willing to take whatever you can throw at me that's close or good enough. I'm willing to roll with it.
Huh. He said, based on true. I was gonna say the only thing that I knew Tom Hanks was in that was based on a true story was A Good Day, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but I know that's
not in this case. No.
But that came out roughly, I think, around 2016, 2017.
A couple years later, I think.
Okay.
But this movie also had Aaron Eckhart in and Laura Linney. Had Holt McCallany.
2017.
Katie Couric played herself in.
I don't think I've seen this. What is the movie?
Sully.
No, I did not see it.
Yeah, see, in this case, okay, so this, like I said, this is not your this is a tough one, I admit, because in the New York City area, when he landed that plane in the Hudson River, it was one of those rare situations where like every news outlet was sitting there talking about this story because he saved the lives of the entire plane by dunking it in the water there. And then shortly after, Tom Hanks played him in this, but it was directed by Clint Eastwood.
Wow.
But it was a little tougher for anybody outside this area to remember. But here in the Hudson River, which is pretty much borderline walking distance from where I am, this was a massive, massive story.
So how long ago did this story actually happen? It
was either 2014 or 15.
Oh, so this happened recent.
Oh yeah, definitely within the last 10 years.
And what were you doing that day?
The day of the actual incident, Oh, I'm sorry. No, actually, it happened January 15th, 2009. Oh, wow. Is that far? It's been 15 years since. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Dude.
But the fact that they turned it into a movie like within 6 years or 7 years is pretty
Yeah, I'm just, wow. It's been over 50. How the frig has that been? Okay, so that was a Thursday. Chances are pretty good. I was still a financial advisor at the time, so I was probably in the office. I don't know what I was doing that day. I might have been meeting with a client or doing an interview or possibly a seminar. I don't even know.
Close enough where you would have heard it crash?
Oh, I wouldn't have heard it necessarily crash, but we would have gotten word of that instantly.
Yeah.
September 11th, which obviously is coming up this week as well. That was not something I saw personally. My father saw it as it happened. I didn't. I was actually sitting at home watching cartoons. But I remember basically seeing it firsthand the day after because I was working in Hoboken, so I could look across the river. So I was able to see the Hudson River where both this ended up happening and September 11th were right across the water. So,
wow. I have to look into that. I haven't seen the movie. I've heard the name, but haven't seen the movie.
It was, like I said, it was a big deal on this side. It was well rated, well received because Tom Hanks, Clint Eastwood, you know what you're going to get with it.
Yeah.
So.
And it's crazy how old Clint Eastwood is. Speaking of legends.
Oh yeah, he's still kicking. He's got to be 90 something too.
He's 91, I think, and he's directing a movie right now.
He's 94 and directing a movie right now.
Sorry, 94.
Okay, 94. But people like him, we'll use Kevin Smith in this. They love working for a guy like him because it's like it's the two-shot move on. So it's those directors that know what they want, they get it, they get done. Crew loves people like that. People like Spike Lee or Woody Allen or Steven Soderbergh. They love Jonathan Frakes. They love guys like that. Kyra Sedgwick from I think it's The Closer. She directed some episodes of like Good Fight and Good Wife. She was quick because they know what they want and they're done because they don't want to be,
Or like Kevin Smith.
Oh yeah. Like I said, Kevin Smith, the last day of filming, we had like a 5 or 6 hour day for the last day of filming. I'm under NDA. I can't talk about what happened there on that day. But what he did say is that when they were done filming, he said, if you guys want to watch the first 45 minutes of the movie, I already have it cut and it's done.
Yeah.
He had edited the entire movie by the time we filmed it, at the movie by the time he edited it, by the time he finished filming it.
When's that come out? That comes out this month, right?
This month, yeah. Small theater focus. So.
Out?
What's that?
When's it come out?
This month, I think.
I know it's this month because we did Cash or Trash.
Sorry, I got to reach out to like Ernie O'Donnell or something. September 13th, this week, actually, Friday.
Is he doing a premiere or any events for it?
I don't actually know if he is or not. Premieres Thursday in Kaufman Astoria in Long Island City. Yeah, it's only by me. It's only actually starting. Let's see, in Brooklyn and Queens.
And it's probably in his theater.
No, I don't know, maybe. I mean, I would hope so. I mean,
right?
You know what? Let me reach out to Ernie O'Donnell on that. Ernie's the guy that runs that theater.
Yeah.
He was also Rick Varys in a lot of the. He's been in a lot of the Clerks movies. I think he's in 4:30 movie too. But I saw him when I was filming this a year ago. Let me reach out to Ernie, see if he wants to. You know, I can have him on here and definitely wants to chat about it. That's fine.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So, yeah, find out what he's up to. Cool, we'll do that.
Oh.
All right, I'll set that up for next week. I should have set it up for this week, but whatever. Okay, so we good here, sir?
You want to talk about your thing, don't you?
I got one more thing. I just wanted to see if we're good on the whole birthday, anniversary, whatever. Okay, so
because you're going to be a one-man army with this one.
I will run with this one completely. I'm all by myself. I don't know why this is doing something weird too, by the way. I don't know what it's going on. So I've got this and I got one article. So Rings of Power, the Jeff Bezos $1 billion project. So actually, I'm going to get rid of this for a second.
Did you say 1 billion?
$1 billion for the first season. The second season apparently is clocking in about 150 million because the sets were already built. Still pretty expensive, but not as nearly as bad. But this is what I wanted to show you here. The first season, the premiere, the first 2 episodes of Rings of Power season 1. The first 4 days of airing had 1.8 million viewers. Season 2 in the first 5 days with 3 episodes had barely half that. Right. Their entire premiere rating has dropped down in half. You know, it's for a show that basically centers around one of the most famous franchises of all time. This is an absolute embarrassment. And what's making it even worse is that you're getting articles like this. This is Forbes, by the way. This is not some this is not some blogger on the internet somewhere. This isn't somebody that you can cast off, not that you should, like Critical Drinker or Nerdrotic, because those guys are on Piers Morgan now, talking about the film industry. I watch Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic when they're on Piers Morgan talking about the film industry, which says something. But this is Forbes. This is Forbes with an article that just came out yesterday. Rings of Power viewership indicates perhaps Amazon should not commit to the 5 seasons that they're going to run with. And I want to scroll down to this part right here, and this is the big part here. Rings of Power Season 1 Labor Day premiere of 132 minutes for 2 episodes brought in 1.2 billion watch minutes across 4 days. So across the entire internet worldwide, they had 1.2 billion minutes of episode watched. Okay. Season 2's premiere, 3 episodes in those first 4 days. 553. So 3 episodes brought in about 40 to 45% of what the first season did.
First 2 episodes did.
For 2 episodes for the first season versus 3 episodes for the second season. Forbes themselves is now all over this. Which says something massive about this.
Basically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, basically with the second season, the problem with the second season, it was kind of like never mind. I'm getting shows mixed up. I'm going to shut up.
No, it's okay.
Oh, it was slow. Is that true?
I gave up.
Okay.
I tried. But what happened was with Rings of Power, only 30% of the viewers finished the entire first season. So most people like myself dropped off. We did the 2 episode premiere as a live stream. It was Dullsville. And as a comparison, just in Day's case, because Day had never seen Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, Fellowship, or anything like that. He watched the first, I think, episode or 2 episodes of that. It was like, okay, it's a show. And I sent him a 4-minute clip from the end of Fellowship of the Ring. And I said, compare what you watched to that. And for those of you who aren't familiar, it's the final battle, basically the death of Boromir, the final battle between Aragorn and the Uruk-hai. You know the scene I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. I told Day, I said, compare what you watched from Amazon to just that 4-minute scene and tell me what you think is better. And he's like, the 4-minute scene. 100%. Yeah. And that was, by comparison to the trilogy, it's a very small part of the entire trilogy. So it's not a massive spoiler. But the way the shot was, the zooming shot, the way that there was no cuts on certain things. The one scene there where the knife was thrown at Viggo Mortensen and he literally sliced it away, like it was a baseball, like it was using a baseball bat.
Did they not bring anybody back that worked on those original movies at all?
They did, and they also did not reach out to Peter Jackson for input.
So you wonder why it's not getting views.
Yes, I mean, they decided to do their own thing.
Now,
They
did it. Now, obviously, I think they're doing the third season or whatever.
Supposedly.
Could this get saved if they went ahead and got the original people that worked? Could maybe somehow save this?
If they got Peter Jackson to come in as a consultant, I'd say it's possible. But he's looking to do his own series right now, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm a little nervous about that at this point too, because I love the original Fellowship and the original children.
Trust me, I know how you love your Lord of the Rings like I love Elves. I mean,
basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
dude, I went through those books. I went through,
we both love elves. Mine's they're both fictional elves,
So,
I thought about that.
That's actually a really good phrase too. Yeah, we talked about James Earl Jones before, but yeah, he walked into the cornfield. People will come, Ray. They will most certainly come.
Yep, and we did talk about that movie.
Yeah, 1989, by the way. Which, by the way, Kyle, fun fact on that: the original idea was basically the kidnapping of J.D. Salinger, because the Catcher in the Rye was going to be the basis of the book. But the Field of Dreams movie or book was actually written by a guy named J.P. Kinsella. Ray Kinsella was Kevin Costner's character, but they were like, we have no idea who the heck J.D. Salinger is. The fans aren't going to get it. They're not going to know. So let's just make this new guy Terrence Mann and make it James Earl Jones instead.
Yep.
The rest is history. But my question as far as this goes, because the Rings of Power ratings are 60% less than they were last season, and they're committing to 3 more years of this, is it possible that the cost of Amazon across the board will become more expensive? Are they going to raise their prices for free shipping? Are they going to require additional advertising? We have an Amazon Fresh that just opened up a quarter of a mile away from my house. Everybody's complaining about how absolutely expensive Amazon Fresh is. It's right next to an Aldi, by the way, which was voted least expensive market for the 7th year in a row. It's right next to an Aldi. Nobody's going to the Amazon Fresh because they're like, why am I spending twice as much money for the same fruit?
Right.
But
that's like putting an Aldi's right by Walmart.
Yeah, well, see, the problem is that Walmart at least has decent prices and a lot of options there. It's like Costco. But Amazon Fresh, I looked at the review because Robin and I were considering maybe going and take a look. But every complaint that I kept seeing in there was, how is this expensive? Why is the food so bad? Why, this is a complete ripoff. And it's like, we're going to Aldi's. They're like, ShopRite is less expensive than Amazon Fresh. But the problem is, if Rings of Power keeps hemorrhaging money and not getting the viewership and the ratings, is it possible that it might affect Amazon as a whole and the entire product line, where they're going to start charging the average person more money because the viewers are not going in for Rings of Power?
Or, I'm going to play devil's advocate with this. Just because Jeff Bezos makes so much money, he don't give a dang if it makes profit or not.
But in this case here, that profit's got to come from, or that loss of money's got to come from somewhere. He's not the type. These people are not usually the type of people to throw their own money and be okay losing that money, because money is a symbol of their pride and their accomplishment. And it becomes a war about who can become richer or more wealthy.
What made him even want to do this? Because he said he's a Lord of the Rings fan or something?
He's apparently a really big fan.
Because, you think you would have consulted the original person that made...
But, like I said, I tried to watch it. It was boring. It just didn't have good pacing. It didn't have characters that you got captured. And forget the fact that basically they can't say certain things. They can't say characters like hobbits. They can't talk about Gandalf by name. There's a lot of legal ramifications of what they can do and can't do legally with the Tolkien estate. So,
because he doesn't own the rights to.
There's a limit on what they are legally allowed to say in this series.
Kind of like a good example would have been when Marvel used Scarlet Witch, and they went ahead and took Quicksilver, even though they weren't given.
Yeah.
And they had to kill Quicksilver off because Fox was already using Quicksilver, and they said, we gave you permission to use that, but we didn't tell you. Am I still here?
Yeah, you're here.
All right. But yeah, no, so I hope it doesn't make the cost, because if you make the stuff of Amazon go up, like if it's Amazon Prime or whatever, you're gonna lose.
there could always be another Amazon of sorts coming in the pipeline. And I think it's possible at some point something might show up. But like I said, this thing nobody cares about this. This is like acolyte level of viewers.
Yeah, but differences, I guess. Bezos likes wasting his money.
I guess, But I mean, listen, I'm all for pet projects. I get that. It's fine. But in this case, I remember seeing something that said this might be the first TV show in history that if it doesn't work, the cost of your toaster is going to go up.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. But they're supposedly committing to 3 more seasons of this, which means at least another $500 million at minimum. At minimum.
House of a Dragon is a good example right now.
Well, that's the other thing. House of the Dragon has done really well with the rating. The Reacher, series Reacher.
I'm saying a lot of fans are disappointed with season 2 of House of the Dragons because it's basically that's where my brain was saying earlier what I was about to say was about House of Dragons, because basically it's still the first season and they're just slowing things down and there's no action. The first season was great, I was told. Second season, it's a hold still, and now you have to wait 2 years for the third season to come out because it takes 2 years for the show to come out.
Now, in this case here with House of the Dragon, was it confirmed for a second season when the first season was happening, or no?
I think it was already confirmed for a second season.
It was. Okay, because sometimes in this case, they'll throw everything in the first season to hook them in, but then when you get it confirmed for a second season, you can sometimes get a third season on top of it, which allows you...
They did get confirmed. There is going to be a third season.
Okay.
But if the third season doesn't do good, see, that's why I was watching this one review. It said the first season was great. Second was trash. But if you can bring it back in the third, you're going to hold the fans. The question is, and you said you only watched the first 2 episodes, so you didn't give it any chance after the second episode. I
watched through. I did watch off and on throughout. I mean, I did what I could to get through it, but I watched the first 2 episodes in the premiere.
So it was,
and then I did scatter watch it throughout just to keep an eye on what's going on with it. But
it was basically painful, and you are a diehard Lord of the Rings fan.
It just felt boring.
Well, do you think it's boring because he's limited on what he can use because he doesn't own the rights to the good stuff?
Here's the thing. If he had chosen a different route with this, maybe not the forging of the rings, maybe a solid independent story, about possibly the creation of the Volnar, something in this case, going back to Ainu. There's a lot of different options that could be opened up here that could create its own story that has no tie whatsoever to the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit or Solarian. You can do some stuff in there that maybe could be wholesomely completely your own, and maybe come up with something in that way. But they're tying this into the creation of the rings, and there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of glitches in here where she decides that she's going to travel west of the Undying Lands, and she's like, nah, that's okay, and she jumps out of the boat like halfway through and swims all the way across the ocean, and then ends up meeting randomly on a boat somewhere in the middle of the ocean the person that killed her brother. It's like, how big the Atlantic Ocean is, right? If you're swimming across half the Atlantic Ocean, and in that swim you just happen to randomly run into the person you're trying to kill in the middle of the water, and it's like, and people are looking at. If you ever want a great example, watch the pitch meetings on this, because pitch meeting's great. He had a great one on this show, man.
Ryan's great.
Yeah, Ryan. I would love to get Ryan George on here.
Oh yeah, we got got contacts with him.
No, but I'll see what I can find. But in this case, like I said, with 3 more seasons of this, who knows what's going to end up happening? And it's sort of a fodder in some ways because it's now halfway through the season. They already have 4 of the 8 episodes that have run at this point. Their big reveals have not been revealed. It's like, oh, that Halbrand guy. It's like everyone knows it's Sauron. At the end of the season, it was Sauron. And everybody's like, dude, we recognized it in the first episode. Come on. Stop acting like we're surprised here. Hey, guys. Hey.
Dave, you're home.
Hey, Dave, what do you say? They went to go see, I think, See No Evil tonight, so he has a review on that. That will be going up in the near future, probably tomorrow. I'm thinking. Sorry. By the way, Day, I'm sorry. because of the reviews that are coming in, I keep having to push off your Chris Sarandon interview.
Yeah.
So between Beetlejuice yesterday and this one and this show in this case, I might have to push off Sarandon to Wednesday.
Wait, my question is, Day, you just watched that movie, but you haven't watched Beetlejuice yet?
Hey, man wants to watch what the man wants to watch.
So does that mean Day has no interest in Beetlejuice? Oh, also, speaking of Beetlejuice, I think it's very interesting what it made this weekend. And do we think that's going to hurt it where it only made 31 in the foreign?
You know what? Let me take a look at this.
Because I was looking at this, and normally movies make their money based on overseas.
It made 147. Yeah, but I would say it did pretty well domestically. It did 100. It's at currently 147 million.
Yes.
So that's not bad. I mean, that's more than Member Berries for 111 mil.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying is this basically targeted just for basically the budget? So it's going to be cash.
It'll be close. I think depends on what happens week 2.
Oh wait, was that the budget? Yeah, 100 mil. Well, yeah, it's going to make. There's no way it can't make 53 million. Whoa!
Yeah,
I'm in the city.
I think it depends on what ends up happening with it, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be close.
Hey guys.
Hey.
So pretty much, I'm going to say it's simple and straight to the point because I only got a short amount of time because I'm in the city trying to head back home.
Problems in its own right.
But from what I hear, and I'm only going by people's reviews that already saw the film, the story, the issue with the film was with the dad.
You just said that before we started too.
Yeah, I said that because which we can't mention. Look up the actor that played the original, and you can see why he's not in the first.
Yeah.
Praised him in the movie.
Yeah, in this case, well, see, it's funny. You have 2 cast members from the original movie that, for a lot of different reasons, should not have been in the second one. But we're only talking about the one. We're not talking about the other.
The other one, I would have been okay if he made an appearance. I understand there's other people that would probably disagree with me, but he's been doing conventions and stuff like that. That, I'm not saying what he did was right or not. That's a whole different conversation for a different day. But it made sense not to get it. But it's ridiculous when you're only going to give a quick mention of certain people, but then you're going to mention a person that shouldn't have anything to do with the sequel in a way. You're going to mention every 5 minutes. That was
right. But then there was like you adding new characters to which Jenna Ortega was like, okay, we can get that. But there was additional new characters that was like questionable from what I heard.
So as a person,
like were they needed? Were they not needed? It was like
as a person that's seen it, I didn't have a problem with the movie at all until I went home, reflecting and realizing about the whole situation. That's my biggest flaw about the movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters they brought into the movie. Yes, there are new characters, plot twists that you get to that I'm not spoiling. This is, spoiler free, but there was plot twists with different characters you didn't expect, and I enjoyed the storyline. Yes, they brought in a lot of different characters, but there is somebody else that made a cameo in that movie that I died laughing. I'm not saying who made a cameo, but somebody made a cameo that I didn't know it was supposed to be in the movie. But yeah, the biggest issue is the husband. That was my biggest. Is it's going to be cash. There's no reason it's not going to make 53 million next weekend, or even if it makes 30 million and makes 20 million the next week, it's going to be in theaters for at least all the way until Halloween.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think, did I say cash last time or no?
I think you said trash.
Well, if I did, anybody that watches the show Tales from the Film set, comment down below and let me know if I said cash or trash, because brother is always busy, so I can't really say too much because at this moment it is an iconic character. It's nostalgia. I think I did say cash. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure.
I got to go back and look on that.
You know, so
comment from Ryan, by the way, that I'm third out making the
movie. So I'm pretty sure you said trash, but I could be wrong because I've been thinking about this by saying I was like, who actually said cash and trash? I'm pretty sure Scott. I don't know if you agreed with me. I think you said trash too.
I believe I did, yes, because I figured it was going to be basically on the same opening weekend of NFL. You know, I mean, it made 111 million local, but it's got to do 200 overall. So it's going to be dependent really on the second and third week.
But it only needs to make $50 more million.
I think you're probably right. I think it's going to probably clear it. I think you're correct.
Because even let's just say the foreign makes another 30 million next weekend. Let's just say that, and then the U.S. makes 20. I mean, that makes it right there.
Sure.
So I was almost thinking if the budget was 200, then it wouldn't make it. But because the budget's only 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Burton knows what he's doing with this stuff anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, I did like, Burton, Danny Elfman came back and did the music.
Gotta love me some Oingo Boingo.
There was some good selection of music. I enjoyed it. I didn't, like I said, and that's what's been leading the fans because everybody's been looking him up now. Now people are like, wait, that actor's still alive. Why did they basically do different pictuations? They basically put him in the movie without putting him in the movie.
But yeah.
It's a way to not have to pay somebody, but still have to. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to see if he's even credited.
Well, you know what's really funny? The fact that obviously Jeffrey Jones having his situation overall in this case and not being part of it. What I find really, really funny about that is that most every cable channel right now has been playing Beetlejuice because of the sequel. Which means that Jeffrey Jones is getting a ton of residuals right now because he's in that first movie all over the place.
Well, the question is, so do they have to pay an actor? Do they have to, because they use his likeness, and they even use a picture in the funeral?
Yes.
Do you have to pay the actor or credit him? Because I don't think
you have to pay. Basically, if they use your likeness with your permission, mind you, yes, they are legally required to do so. So, case in point, Alien 3, Michael Biehn charged I forget what it was, an obscene amount of money just for his face to be used in that opening thing when they killed his character off.
So
his rate was insane.
And they just did this stuff. I'll have to look into that because I don't think
sue the underwear right off him. Basically, if they use your likeness without your permission, you are legally allowed to. Now, in this particular case, in certain cases, if they can claim AI and parody, but if it's clearly where Beetlejuice 2 is, Jeffrey Jones's character, whatever the guy's name, Dietz is the last name. You can tell clearly it's not an AI version of him. It is a sequel movie. It is the same person. Bam.
I will say that may have been why every depiction of him was something different. Spoiler.
Hey guys, I'm going to leave out. Hey guys, I'm out. This is Damian signing off.
He went to go see No Evil, so he's in Manhattan right now. So enjoy whatever going on over there. So thank you for popping in, sir.
No problem.
Cheers. Boop. There we go. So, but yeah, like I said, legally you have, if you use their likeness in it with permission, you have to negotiate some kind of a rate on that. Probably get residuals too.
I'll have to look into that and see.
Yeah. But like I said, I find it really funny that Jeffrey Jones is probably making a crap ton of residuals right now because Sci-Fi Channel and Comedy Channel are running Beetlejuice 24/7 right now. It's hilarious.
It's trending right now because everybody's like, "Why is he not in the sequel?" I've seen probably 30 to 40 different articles on my feed.
The same reason the dad from Seventh Heaven is not in a lot of stuff these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why another cast member from Howard the Duck will not be in anything else, Ed Gale.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Howard the Duck is one of those movies you just kind of remember as an oddity because it's like, his
Well,
big follow up to Return of the Jedi is Howard the Duck.
I was gonna say Jeffrey Jones was in that too.
Yes, he was. Well, he was big in the 80s. He had that. He had obviously Ferris Bueller.
Yes.
And he had all these movies, and you're just like, oh yeah, that didn't age well.
You're like thinking, I hope nothing happened to those stars, but it's okay.
Well, nobody ever talks about the fact that the Lord of the Rings movies were produced by the Weinsteins either, or any of Kevin Smith stuff like Dogma, which I got a copy of that upstairs. I should bring that out.
Do you have a VHS copy?
No, I don't have a VHS copy.
But you have a DVD copy.
I do. I had the 2-disc DVD of Dogma. Yes.
So that's rare because I've been told with that DVD that they tried burning every copy.
I got it with my Columbia House discount. I'm dating myself hardcore with this. I got my Columbia House membership. I got that. Dogma. I'm sorry, I got that. Mallrats and Clerks were part of my original group of 6.
Wow. What's great is I don't have it anymore because now Ming Chen owns it, but I had the VHS copy of Dogma, and I gave it to Ming at one of the cons because he makes that cameo in it.
Yes, that's right, because he's in the strip club.
Yeah.
His movie premiere was basically sitting there watching Selma Hayek twerk.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But yeah, no, I met him at one of the cons and was like,
"Stay tuned." Yes. God, that was the one with the afterlife or something, wasn't it? I remember. Yeah, that was like 1997.
Also, hi Ryan. I know him. I know him.
Good seeing you, man.
But I was gonna say before we wrap this up, because I know we're already at an hour 11. We got to go to Arkansas Comic-Con this last weekend.
Yes, you did, sir.
It was great. I highly suggest. I know we have viewers of all, range from everywhere. Obviously, I'm in Arkansas. Y'all are in New Jersey, so we got to have people all over. If you see a con that's called Comic-Con, not San Diego, but basically like Louisiana Comic-Con, Arkansas Comic-Con, Missouri Comic-Con, look to see if you have one in your state. It's ran by the same person, and they're all these great conventions. The owner's amazing, and I do want to show 2 things that I got done this weekend that I'm very excited about. We met Ray Parks.
Nice.
And he signed multiple times because he signed on the box, and I was like, man, I wanted you to sign on the plastic. He's like, no one ever wants it signed on the plastic. So then he wrote Sith Rules, or Sith, I think it was Sith Holds. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's his character name, which is so weird. Like, it looks like his signature. So, but this was a cool. And then, speaking of movies that have came out recently, and then I found out, no, he was not the character in Deadpool Wolverine. That was a different actor, even though it was rumored that it was him. I got my Toad sign.
Nice.
Ray Parks was not Toad in the new one, which is a shame. He actually said that if they would have asked him, he would have came back. He had no problems. But the funniest thing about this is I got a quote that says, "Don't you people ever die." And the great thing about this is when I asked the agent, hey, is he doing quotes? He said, no, we got to get this line moving. I was like, oh man, I wanted the quote, "Don't you people ever die." Well, Ray looks at the guy and says, I'm doing that quote. And it was funny as the agent's like, okay, I guess we're playing bad cop and good cop. I'm telling you no, he's telling you yes. So yes, you're getting your quote. And he told me, he said, I've only signed one other one at this show, a couple last month. And then 20 years before that, or, 20 years after the movie came out, I've never signed one. So that's why I don't have a problem doing the quote that you want. So I got this quote. So that was pretty cool little piece. And so, yeah, we had fun. Got to meet all kinds of different people. Got a picture with Butch Patrick, very awesome guy. Scott Innes, which Scott's got all the pictures. So we'll be posting pictures and different cosplays that were there. So yeah,
I see you down below. I'm working on it. So
yeah, I know you are. So just know if you guys have any cons nearby, they're worth going to. They're going to be like the cheapest thing that you can go, that you're going to get to meet like 10 to 15 celebrities for only like, $40 for one day, or 50, like 75 for both days. I mean, or actually all 3 days it was 75 if I would have went all 3 days. So I highly suggest it. We love them. And
Nice.
they know me.
They do. Actually, they actually apologize for not being able to give you a ticket on this one, too.
Hey, and that's okay. We got in there. They're really, I will say another thing I appreciate about them is they're good with ADA. If you have a disability, they will help you out.
Nice.
So,
Well, yeah, we had that other one that you sent me earlier today that I got to look into. I'll go look into that when we're done up here.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They've got more events. We got
Well, I recognize the logo, so
got Bill Farmer next year in Little Rock. He's going to be at their anime fest.
Okay.
So,
yeah, we've done the anime ones before. I remember that. So
yep.
All right.
Oh.
So very good, sir.
But yeah, so one big last shout out to James Earl Jones. Hats off to you, sir. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for making nerds, and loving. I want to say, is he one of the like first villains? I mean, I guess not the first villain that you actually love.
It's funny because basically, yeah, in some ways, yes. Considering somebody like him in real life would be reviled, but for some reason, being a cybernetic mass murderer, who's responsible for blowing up an entire planet. Let me dress up like him for Halloween. It's like, it's a little weird.
I mean, I'm trying to think of what's before the 70s that was an icon back then.
No, I mean, everything was kid safe at that point. So, you dressed up as the Monkees or, the Beatles we were talking about before.
I guess the Joker could be one, but it's like, you don't have a lot of villains that you like.
But that was a comedic Joker. I mean, he literally surfed opposite Batman.
Yeah.
Can you really take that like that seriously?
Yeah, no. So it's like, that's, and it all started back, like you said, what, 50 years ago?
Yeah,
almost?
60. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 1977.
So their 50th anniversary is in 2 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah.
Or 3. Sorry, we're in 20.
Yeah, May of 77. May 25th, I think it was. So, yeah, that's going to be a big deal. 50-year anniversary on that.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, that's
Mark and Harrison better survive for that, and Harrison better show up with a smile on his face. I don't want to see any of that grumpy crap he's pulling.
Oh yeah. I'd love to meet him one day, but his prices are too expensive.
Yeah, you got to work on like Shrinking or whatever show he's on right now.
Yeah, I just need to be something he's in.
Fair enough.
All
right, my lad.
We'll see y'all next Monday. That's Scott. I'm Rob, and this is Tales from the Film Center.